Hey everybody! So it has been a while since I have done a video, mainly because I'm a big old coward and it scares the ever-loving crud out of me to get up here and talk to people that I don't know. And there are a lot of you now. So 2020 new year, um, I'm going to embrace my witchy gypsy badass a little bit more and do a little more of these personal videos instead of just slapping a bajillion pictures up on Instagram. Okay, so uh, welcome. If you guys don't know me, I'm Lori. There are over 200 of you now between Facebook and Instagram. There's a handful of people on YouTube only because I didn't do a lot of videos. We had every intention of doing them, and then life got in the way. 2019 was a huge year. There was a lot of heavy stuff. And on top of all of that, I just could not get over my fear of this camera, which is dumb because I video chat with a lot of people. And this is pretty much the same thing, except it's everybody instead of just a few people. But everybody has been super supportive of us, even when I didn't get out a whole lot of blog posts, when I did not get out any of the videos, when all I did was post pictures about homeschool, which we kind of renamed homeschool, roadschool, wildschool. When we talked about our trips, our travels, things that go wrong or right in the camper, everywhere we've been, everything we've been through. And there's a lot that we didn't mention on social media that really threw a wrench in our plans and is how we ended up in the Pacific Northwest, actually. So I'm just going to get out there. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of it on this video. It will have its own private video, which is why I didn't do an unboxing for November or December, because that ties into it too. But two of the kids ended up at Seattle Children's Hospital this year, one to see a cardiologist, one to see a neurologist. I'm not going to make an hour-long video, so I'm just going to leave it at that and say that the kids are okay, that we are managing, and that there will be more on that soon. So tune in, I guess, or tune out if you don't want to hear about the kids, because they want their story told. We were not going to tell it, but my middle daughter is the one with migraines and ended up at the neurologist, and she was really upset for a while because she felt like she was the only kid on the planet dealing with migraines and cyclic vomiting and all of those things. And so she wants people to know that kids her age do get that, and she wants to reach out to other kids that have that problem and let them know that they are not alone, because she felt alone for a while. My teenager, my son, is the one that was seeing the cardiologist, and he had the same reasoning. He didn't want someone going through it his age to feel like they were by themselves and that they were the only people to go through it. That's pretty typical of combat kids. We are a combat family. We have been through lots of heavy things, separations, just lots of trauma and wonderful, awful awful things that make up this life. And so kids, if you're going through stuff, you're not alone. There are other kids that are going through it. There's other families that are going through it. And whether it is health related or mental health related or anything like that, you're not by yourselves. So we're going to have more on that. We're going to have more on homeschooling. We had a lot of big changes this year. We spent January through December, the entire time in the RV, so we can officially say that we are full-time RVers now. It's the first year that we spent the entire year in the camper. Daddy was in South Dakota for the entire year working with the railroad. We're hoping at some point that we will all get back together under the same roof and in the same house, or at least in the same state and area. But for right now, we are continuing this journey where he is working and the kids and I are traveling, which has been, same as everything else in life, awful, terrible, magnificent, and wonderful, all wrapped into one. We really, really, really like being in the camper. We stay busy in the camper. There's always projects to do. Something's breaking, something needs to be fixed. Kind of like in a real house, only multiplied because your house moves and goes through an earthquake every 2 or 3 weeks. So you have to make sure that it's sturdy, and you end up refixing the same thing 20 times sometimes, and that's okay. We do all of the projects together as a family, so the kids are learning carpentry and electrical and plumbing and project management, time management. Um, yeah, I've got one learning to drive, which is super scary because the only vehicle we have available is a dually, which is huge, which is the other big change that happened this year. We got rid of our beautiful little Expedition and traded up big time. We have a 2014 F350 dually now, which it's the extended cab, it's the long bed, it is hooked onto the camper pretty much as long as a semi-truck, but much easier to drive. No more truck suck from the 18-wheelers where we go all the way to the edge and then almost into the 18-wheeler when they pass us. Wind is nowhere near as much of an issue as it was. Much more points to the ground, much heavier tow vehicle. We're not exhausted at the end of the day after we travel, and we're able to go a little further. So that has helped things tremendously. We've gone through physical changes this year. The braces came off of my son. My littlest girls both got their ears pierced. My oldest daughter and I both got glasses. Pretty snazzy. Feel like a naughty librarian most of the time, so that's always fun. Gotta have little fun things. Let's see, what else, guys? I have a list. You know I like lists. Let's see. 200 of you. Welcome. If I didn't say that at the beginning of the video, I can't remember. I think I did. Welcome. I can't wait to get to know you guys, and I hope you can't wait to get to know me. And I'm going to try and be a little more forthright from now on. So let's do that. We got braces off, ears pierced, glasses, the dually. Oh gosh, all the changes to the camper. It wasn't just us that got physical changes. It was the camper, guys. So we had to completely renovate the slide. Our camper has one of those huge super slides. I'm sitting in it right now. So it's your entire living area, dining area is all in one slide. And the floor decided to bow. So it bowed out at the bottom, and nobody wanted to touch this thing. The manufacturer didn't want to touch it because we were just outside of warranty. The extended warranty didn't want to touch it because they said that they didn't handle inferior original parts. And the insurance company, of course, said, nope, that's not us either. So we called around to a few repair shops, and we got completely unreasonable timeline estimates and cost estimates. And so we did what we do for everything else, and we dug into research on the internet, on YouTube, and we watched lots of videos, and we were really upset about it at first because it seemed like a huge undertaking. And then we got a plan together, and we actually repaired it ourselves. So we have a nice sturdy slide floor, which is nice because that's the only thing between us and the outside world in the camper. And so we have a nice sturdy new floor. We ripped out all of the furniture, all of the disgusting, nasty carpet. Why the only carpet in the camper was underneath the dining area, I will never understand, but RV manufacturers like to put carpet there. So we ripped it out. We got rid of the jackknife sofa that my son had been sleeping on, and we replaced it with a real twin-sized bed so that he can finally lay out straight without being diagonal. We built a kitchen table specific to our board games, and we have a bench that goes along with it. So now all 5 of us can sit at the table together and eat dinner and watch TV, which we don't do very often, but every now and then we pull out the projector screen and we'll watch something that we've downloaded on our phones, and put it up on the projector screen so everybody can see it. It's like going to the movies, only 0 cost, which is my favorite thing. Let's see, we pulled out all of the original curtains, and so we have these that are nice. They're super insulated. We did it for the cold, but it's going to be really nice for the heat when we get back to Texas. We repainted the wall, the cabinets. We went ahead and painted the kitchen while we were at it. Let's see. Ooh, I can spin you and show you that. That's exciting. So I'm on the computer right now because that's the best thing I could figure out for recording. But guys, look at that. So pretty. We've got green and gray. super dark gray, big TV that the girls have been playing. I'm going to sit you back down. Have been playing video games on, which most parents I don't think get super excited about video games. I do because they are playing my #2 favorite video game ever. Ooh, that's shaking. Champions of Norap. You guys who have PS2s know what I'm talking about. Lots of fun. So they've been doing that. And let's see, PS4 is normally the one that's out, but we put it away for a little bit so they could play that. Still doing school. We use The Good and the Beautiful as our base homeschool program, and I'm going to go into more detail about that. It does typically take us longer to go through a single year of curriculum than most people because while we homeschool, road school, we also wild school, and that means that we spend a lot of time outside. We spend a lot of time at national parks and state parks and things of that nature. We love hiking. The kids all have bikes. We finally got those lifted up out of the camper and onto the bed of the truck for travel. So I guess I'm gonna have to show you guys when I show you the truck. I'll have to show you our bike racks because we're really proud of those. That was a fun project. Oh my gosh, yeah. So we went through 20,000 miles this year. 15,000 of those are on the new truck. And I can't wait to show you guys the new truck, but it's been a lot of fun. And so that actually equals out to about 1,000 miles a state because we travel in zigzags instead of straight lines so that we can go explore everything. We typically only go about 150, 200 miles a day. I know that that's a question a lot of people had is how far do we travel? How do we manage to travel with just me and the 4 kids and the dog in this big, huge rig? We go short distances. That's how we do it. And then we stay put for a little bit. We don't do back-to-back traveling. And I know that we all know that travel is really expensive. We all vacation. We all have ideas of what that costs. And I got to tell you, we found a way to do it that it doesn't cost very much at all. The diesel is almost negligent when you consider that we stay put for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. So even though we're moving extremely slowly. And so we're only using the amount of gas that we were only using in town anyway when we were sitting still. But yeah, so I'll tell you guys all about the membership with that in a video because I know a lot of people have asked about that. Okay, so back to that 20,000 miles. We've done 15 states. Of those 15 states, I have a list. We did 2 historical trails. And what I mean by historical trails is I mean that we followed Lewis and Clark from the east to the west, and we also traveled along the Oregon Trail, which was a lot of fun because another family had given us the, what do they call it? Choose Your Own Adventure. It's a 3 or 4 book set for the Oregon Trail. And so as we were traversing the United States east to west, we went through the Oregon Trail books and we got to choose our own adventure. We only died a couple of times, which is better than when I was a kid playing it on the computer, because then we always died. But we made it to Oregon, which was a lot of fun. And it was really neat because when we got to Washington, we actually ran back into the family that had given us the books. So we were able to give the books back when we made it to the end of the Oregon Trail, which was a really cool add-on to that, because then our kids and their kids got to discuss all the different and fun ways that they had died along the Oregon Trail. Let's see, we did 39. Okay, guys, this is a huge number. And we were actually gifted the National Parks annual pass. And so for us, all of this was free. And we really like free activities, whether it is free museums or free parks. It is definitely the way to go. If you can't do big travels and you only want to do small travels, look in your own state and see if there's a state parks pass for your state parks, for your specific state, that will give you free admittance on a daily basis for the daily use. You'll still have to pay for camping, but a lot of states have passes, all of them might, that give you free access during the day to all of their parks. And so that's a great quick investment where you can then have free trips for the rest of the year, because free trips make for a really good school year. So we did 39 national parks, monuments, forests, and grasslands. We did state parks and we did museums. Not all of the museums were free. Some of them were. The Voodoo Museum in Louisiana we paid for. It was kind of small, but it was really special to a particular child of mine because she is very much into all of the New Orleans history and all of the spooky, creepy stuff. The other one that we did that was free that we would have paid for was the Geology Museum in Rapid City, South Dakota. That was a lot of fun. They had a lot of um, geology stuff, but they also had a lot of fossil stuff, which in my brain was always two different subjects. But in this particular museum, it was the same. And so there was a lot of good history stuff there. There was a lot of good science stuff there. If you were in South Dakota and trying to find something to do, go to the Geology Museum in Rapid City. The other thing is if you're going to go to a national park, guys, do it in the middle of the week, in the middle of the day, preferably during the school year if you have the chance. We discovered very early on that if you go to the national parks in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week, during the school year, most of the time you will be the only person there. And sometimes, like what happened to us in Biscayne Bay, something magical happens. And you walk in, and there are more rangers than you have children, and they come forward, and each ranger takes a child and does a specific presentation catered to that child based on their questions. So we had one ranger walking through the marsh exhibit, talking about mangrove trees. So I guess it wasn't a marsh; it was a mangrove forest. And we had another one pulling out skulls and shells to talk to a child. We had another one putting on a movie for an older child about people who had lived there before. It was absolutely amazing. That has happened more than once, so many times that I cannot recall all of them. It's a great day for me as a teacher because I can sit back and kind of do nothing. And if there is anything that I have learned on this trip is that I dearly miss my husband because being a single married mom of 4 on the road is a lot of work. If you're not exhausted from driving, someone is asking what is for dinner, and then you have homeschool and road school, and you have laundry that you have to leave the house for. If everybody wants a shower, you have to leave the house for that too because our water heater is only like 5 gallons, and you use that washing the dishes. You are constantly moving. And so anytime you can get a day off by going to a park and you can relax in a beautiful setting and let someone else teach your kids for the day, do it. That is my best secret to start the new year with. Do that. So, okay. Oh, the other great thing. Okay, not only did we get to see, let's see, we saw Daddy in March or February in Texas, and then we saw him for an entire month in June, and then we flew him into Washington for an early Christmas. And we expect those kinds of things because obviously we are still a family and we love each other very much. So we even though we're apart, we make the effort to get together throughout the year. It is a financial priority of ours. And so we have done that numerous times, and we hope to fly Daddy to some nicer places this year. But for last year, we actually ended up being able to spend an entire month in South Dakota. What really surprised me was how many people were willing to travel to us. We actually had 7 individual families, I guess, because some of them were by themselves and some of them were with families, drive out to where we were and or travel with us for a stretch, which was really surprising to me. And I didn't realize until we were writing it all down at the end of the year that there were actually 7 of them, and that amazed us. And it amazed us the distance that people were willing to go to. We had a family from Texas meet us in Washington. We had a friend from South Carolina meet us in Washington. We have had friends meet up with us along the way in the states where they live, and they have always been willing to drive to us wherever we are and enjoy the amenities of where we are. So that was a lot of fun being able to keep in touch with everybody this year. And I hope starting this year, 2020, that we will have even more get-ups and get-togethers with people. So let me know where you're at and we will do something. The only other thing I think that we had, let's see, I don't know. Oh, Badlands. Guys, I was really surprised by Badlands. Everything that I'd ever read told me that it was a drive-through park, and it is, because you get off one interstate exit and you drive through the park and you get on at another interstate exit. but it is so much more than that. It's one of our favorite places. I think it's topped only by, what was it? Grand Teton. Grand Teton is our favorite place, only because I haven't taken the kids to Denali yet. I'm pretty sure that one's going to top it all, but I don't know when we're going to get there, so stay tuned for that. And I guess that's kind of it for the year. So I look forward to more videos, and I look forward to seeing and meeting all of you, and hopefully we'll have another video out soon. All right, Happy New Year's, guys.